A weight loss pill pulled from the shelves by the FDA due to an increased risk of cancer. Now, other side effects are coming to light as patients are filing more complaints. We're joined by Madeline Penley, Associate Attorney here at Levin Papantonio, to talk about this case. Maddie, we've seen so many cases with weight loss. We saw FinFin, thousands of people literally became ill, hundreds of them died. And now the FDA let this thing go through, and all this thing is just another way to tell women, hey, lose weight, take this pill, and everything's going to be okay. Give me your take on it.
So Belviq, like you mentioned, it operates almost exactly the same way as FinFin. It's a serotonin 2C receptor blocker. It means it tells the brain we're not hungry anymore, you can eat less, feel fuller faster, and stuff like that. The problem is this drug has reported an increased risk of cancer development as well as other side effects like mood-altering issues like depression and mood swings, dizziness, fatigue, and so on.
Right. Well, you know what's interesting about this, they did a study on this, right?
Yeah.
They weren't looking for cancer.
No.
They were trying to say there was a complaint that, you know, people were dying from heart problems.
Right.
And they're trying to say, well, this doesn't cause heart problems. So they did this study for the FDA demanded it, finally did their job, and they find out, well, no, it doesn't cause heart problems, but it'll kill you with cancer.
Yes.
What kind of cancers?
Typically, it's lung, pancreatic, and colorectal cancers. And what's so interesting, and you touched on it, these companies initially submitted their drug to the FDA in 2009, and the FDA blocked it. Like, nope, no way. You guys don't have a good handle on the side effects that come with this drug. The companies resubmitted it in 2012. The FDA hesitantly was like, okay, you can give it to a limited group of people, but you have to do long-term studies on this to figure out the side effects. And these companies did. But in the meantime, this company was actually blocked in Europe in 2013, specifically for increased risk of tumor development in the animal studies. So these both companies, Arena and Eisai, had this information about the tumors in animals in 2013, didn't tell the FDA, and did not disclose it to the public.
Interesting. The FDA has access to what's going on around the world. Okay, it's not like we're a bunch of, well, maybe we are a bunch of bumpkins. The FDA certainly looks like bumpkins most of the time. But it's not like, if you do a study in Europe, the agency over there said, yeah, we looked at this, there's tumor growth, there's cancer.
100%.
Comes off the market over there. These idiots with the FDA say, we don't have enough information. People are taking this stuff like candy to lose weight, just like they did FinFin, with all these women died unnecessarily, right?
Right. And like you said, the FDA, can communicate with Europe. They're allowed to do that, to get that information. But it also raises the question, why could Europe's basically FDA figure this out and ours couldn't? They had the same information, the same disclosure from the companies, and our company raises their hand and can't figure it out.
Here's the difference. FDA, you can't give a politician money. In the United States, we can give a politician. The difference over there is if we have a situation where we have somebody working for the agency, the company that's the private company can't hire that person. Here, it's like a revolving door. Sure, work with the FDA a while and then come work with us, right? Isn't that a big problem?
So the FDA completely missed the warning signs on this drug and allowed it to remain on the market for 8 years while people took it the entire time.
Okay, so the people are filing claims. What kind of claims are we seeing?
Mostly cancer. At this point, we're not seeing cases for the other injuries like shortness of breath, fatigue, and things like that. And actually, in April, the plaintiff attorneys that represent these patients filed for an MDL, or a multi-district litigation, which means they're asking for the cases to be consolidated in front of one judge. And arguments were heard on that issue last week.
What type of things should be people, what kind of cancers should people be aware of? First of all, it's a cancer that has to specifically begin at a particular site, not a metastasis, but a site cancer. What are they?
Colon, lung, and pancreatic. We've also seen some breast cancer cases being filed. No rulings on those yet, but we think colon, pancreatic, and lung are the strongest.
We know this. We know that the serotonin story's been told again and again. We know that anytime you're messing with serotonin, you have a whole host of psychological issues related to it. But here, this is the first time I've seen a cancer-induced kind of pharmaceutical that for weight loss. Isn't this kind of a new thing?
It is unusual, and like you mentioned, they were initially looking for heart valve issues because that's what we saw in FinFin and another drug called Redux, I believe. But the cancer issue is specific to this drug.
Belviq, no surprise. It just goes on and on, doesn't it?